All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Before we went on that break, I said I was going to introduce both my guests I have seated in the studio. I'm starting from my rear left. That's what it's called. I have Augusta there. The lady in pink, good morning to you.
Good morning. My name is Augusta and welcome to the show.
All right, and I have Ove Marie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
I hope you guys had a fantastic week, or you have been having a fantastic week. All right, we have a matter on ground that we need to give our 2 cents on. It's basically a perspective. I think the whole morning, this is the only place where I get to say my own mind, you know. So let's play the video and then we get on with the show.
My husband and I are both 32 years old and we have been married for 2.5 years. My dilemma is that my husband refuses to have children until his siblings do. For context, he's very touchy about his siblings and carries them on his head to the extent that I can't talk to him about them without him getting very emotional and overreacting. Even something as simple as, oh, I saw your sister at the grocery store today. Regarding us having children, I've been begging him for us to start trying for a baby since I turned 30, and he always has a different excuse that doesn't make sense. Also, he started withholding sex, even going as far as hiding in the bathroom when I tried to initiate. Finally, last year, he slipped up in the heat of a fight and said,
"We can start trying after my brother's wedding, and my older sister doesn't have children yet, so why are you rushing?"
When I asked him why he's tying our life path to his siblings, he flipped out and got very, very angry, but didn't give any good explanations. He also said I won't understand because I don't have siblings.
What?
As an only child not really in touch with my parents, I really want to start my own family, and I have explained to him many times how I would like to start sooner rather than later to increase my chances of a healthy pregnancy. My question is, what do? I can't force him to start a family with me, and I worry that he will try this again in the future if, for example, we have 2 kids and I want 1 more, but neither of his siblings have more than 2. Also, my friends and family members keep sending me prayers and encouragements that my womb will open soon, and it's making me very angry and very sad because how can I tell them?
Okay. We have Augusta. Augusta is a licensed clinical psychologist, just so you know that we're having this conversation from a balanced perspective. And then we have Ove Marie, who is a media practitioner. But we'll start with you, Augusta, because you seem to be smiling at the video. Let's hear. What are your thoughts on this?
There are many things. This is not something you just base on one perspective. So looking at this, there are many underlying factors to what is coming up. So number one thing that comes to mind is family dynamics.
Okay.
So family dynamics is more like what goes on in the family.
Absolutely.
So in my line of practice, we have people coming and you start seeing a lot of things. So the family of origin where this guy is coming from is what you actually need to look at. So what's growing up like for him? What are the parents like? What are the values? What's the value system? What's the culture? There's so many things going on. So you have to actually go down. He's not having sex, he doesn't have to have children and stuff like that. There's a lot going on underneath before you can actually nib it at, get to the root of the problem, and you look at so many things, and it will be funny what you're going to discover. It's not just him alone, he's dealing with so many things. His parents, how they lived, what he experienced while growing up. Then the woman he's staying with or he had married, there are some conversations they were not had before this marriage came on board. Exactly. So most times, people actually start the touching before the talking. So the touching part of it, you forget the talk. And then when you get in, things like this can just crop up. I can just leave it here. There's still more to come up.
All right. Let's hear you, Ove.
I definitely wanted to ask her to give us examples of the family dynamics that she thinks would have caused something like this.
Okay. So this guy growing up might have held this value of my elders need to go first. So whatever they dictate is what happens. So he's trying to uphold what the family has been laid as like a family tradition. So my parents, they believe that the elderly ones must take first whatever they are doing, then I'll follow suit. So imagine the last born coming to be the first. So that doesn't make sense. And this conversation was not had before the marriage. So some things like this can happen because we didn't have this discussion. I don't know where you're coming from. We fell in love, and it doesn't matter. It's just the both of us. And then in the course of this marriage, things are coming up because we didn't discuss that. So these are just a little about family dynamics. but underneath there are still many
more.
Yes, many.
Okay, over to you.
I just blanked out thinking. First off, it just brings me to the point that I realize that a whole lot of people, I mean, I haven't done my research, but I think 80% out of 100% of people who get married are not even ready to marry. How is it that you're an adult and you cannot create your own, you have a family, but you cannot create your own family dynamics? Like, you have already broken out of your parents' house. No more. I recall when my brothers were getting married back in the days, and they were getting older at home, and they were telling each other, go and marry. And they don't tell the other person, you are not married yet, so I'll wait for you to marry because you're older than me. And they're like, no, I give you the way. Go and marry. And then it brings me to the part where men will get married and they still do not know. I'm a Christian. The Bible says a man will leave his mother and go and start another family. When you have your family, you create your own rules, your own culture, your own culture for your own family. You cannot carry yourself. I know that we are Africans and all. May I remind you that your wife is from a different background entirely, right? She's from a different background. She has different upbringing. You people are two different people entirely. Then you meet and then you fall in love, which means when you fall in love, it means you are open to change, to check out things and change things to how it would fit both of you who are in love, in quotes, please, because it's very, very important. But then instead of doing that, you carry her and try to stick her onto your family. Like what?
Okay.
That's first matter. That's first. Secondly, I don't think this whole thing is really fishy.
Okay.
It's really fishy. Because why, if he knew that that was how it was, and people are just wicked. This lady is an only child, right? She wants to start her family. But then you come and she said she had already told him that. And you kept mute about it, only for you to be running away from your marital duties and sitting on the toilet.
Okay. There's a lot that is just, building up in my head. And, when I say it now, it will sound, I'd like to sound very unconventional. But at this point, do you know I'm not going to blame the man for it? And I'll tell you why. You said something. Talk before you touch. For a person who did not come from a family that has such a fantastic dynamic, because as she recounted, I'm not in good terms with my parents. It is important for you to make a choice that does not repeat the same mistake that led you where you are. The man doesn't know about that mistake. You are the one who lived with your parents. I don't go into a conversation asking about things I already know. I go into a conversation asking about things that are interesting to me as an individual. And so when I get into a relationship, let's say I come from a home where we don't believe in saving. We're just eating up what we have. And I didn't like that. The first question I'm asking a man I meet, best believe, is what is your savings culture? What are your financial principles as an individual? Because that is something that I have seen in my own immediate life that I want to correct in my family life. I like what you said. You leave your father and your mother and you become one. Which means we are now building another solid generation of people, which becomes a combination of what my ideas are and what your ideas are. Not what my mother thinks, not what my father thinks, even though parts of what my parents think is what formed my own idea as an individual. So I will not blame the man for not telling you a question that was important to you that you did not ask. See, when we have conversations, I always like to have it from a very logical point. And there's something about people that are in love. They don't see their immediate environment anymore. So sometimes, I know we say, oh, don't bring a third party into this relationship. Sometimes you are blind to the things that happen in there. You don't necessarily need to say, oh, this is what my husband did. look for a second and a third opinion. It doesn't have to be, oh, my husband did this. What do you think about somebody that thinks like this?
Okay.
This is how people form second and third opinions. You don't necessarily need to make it your marriage the center of it. I am so scared of the kind of marriages we have in this generation. We play the blame games for things that we should have found out by ourselves. We never want to take responsibility for our mistakes, for things that we should have known from the onset. If childbearing is important, I come from a very large family.
Wow.
At some point in my life, I thought that was what I wanted. But then when I started to understand the dynamics, no matter how much your parents love all of you, at some point they will have favorites.
Sure.
And you don't blame them for that. It is because maybe the character of this person is more aligning to what they are or who they are.
Yeah.
So a father who loves to gist will always like the jabbing one. Oh, this one, she always has new stories for me. The mother who is quiet will always lean into someone who they can just say cool stories together. That is life. People will always have favorites. So having more children makes it even more difficult to spread the love evenly between the children. That's what I have seen. I will not go into a marriage and be hoping that my husband wants 3 children when I did not ask. How many children do you want? What is your limit? Oh, I want 6. It won't work for me, my brother. This is why it won't work for me. Don't you think we can come to a common ground? Okay, 6 is too much. Maybe I can manage 4. Can we do half that number? These are conversations that I think that you should have. But I'm just going to stop here on my lengthy thoughts and go on to the very next. She's already in this situation, which means that there's no going out, except of course she wants a divorce, which is what many young people do these days. They don't find a way to solve the problem. We just walk out of it. But you are a psychologist and you must have come across, events like this. What do you think she can do?
Okay, not to throw the blame game actually on her, and not just on her too. They never had this difficult conversation from the beginning. So the lady actually needs, this is the role of premarital counseling. So they never had that. And sometimes some people say, oh, therapy doesn't work, going to see a psychologist, what for, and all the rest of them. But actually, at the end of the day, you still need them. So they call back. And we've seen so many people coming. And couple therapy is something you don't want to be inside. Because by the time you hear the man, he's saying a different thing, and you hear the lady, saying a different thing, and you don't even know where to start from. So you need to be objective. So both of them actually need to see a counselor, psychologist, therapist, whoever they prefer, to actually chisel down this problem. Because divorce is not the solution to that, because this is going to repeat. Because the next lady is coming into this marriage, and that guy, if he's somebody who is not able to confront his fears and emotions, there are people like that. They can't confront difficult emotions and discussions. So they just sweep it under the carpet. So it's still going to repeat until that problem is actually sorted out. So if they decide to go for counseling, which is what's going to help them, that is where you'll be able to find out what the problem really is. And then you help them to understand that this discussion needs to be had. And like my sister said something, she said, you live and cleave. That's what the Bible says. You leave your family and cleave. So some people actually leave their family, but they don't cleave. So they leave their family, they still hold on to their mom, hold on to their dad, their sisters, their whatever. So the woman is alone in the marriage. So they actually need to leave, both of them actually, need to leave their families and cleave to themselves and discover what this marriage has for both of them going forward. If not, when children come into this family, they are still going to traumatize those kids.
Absolutely.
So they actually need counseling, not divorce, because they will repeat the cycle.
The same cycle.
Yes.
I like the fact that she mentioned the children inside of all of these things. It's going to be a vicious circle if it is not trimmed right now. Like if it's not pulled out, let's not even say trimmed. The fact that you would want to bring kids into such a family is a big red flag to the society. You should not bring children into a family that is not. I know people, sometimes I know a lot of people who have issues with their partners, and then people tell them, oh, just try and have a child. You're going to feel okay. Just have a companion. Just have a child. Like, are you people okay in this country? Like, why are you bringing in a child?
In your confusion.
Yes, why? When everywhere is not stable. I think the law should do something about this.
I agree.
Honestly, the law should do, because you bring in the same product of your problems
Mhm.
inside. These children see everything. In fact, even from your blood,
Mhm.
you know, it's even far. It's worse than. It's not just about the the physical things.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
Yeah.
And talking about this whole matter, the part where she said her in-laws and her friends and family are telling her, oh, her womb is what? Is going to be open?
Yes.
Why? Why are they not sending him the messages?
In an African society.
Oh my God.
They don't even know what the guy is doing.
They don't even know if
They
it
don't
is
know.
the problem, if the
Yes.
guy, if the problem is from the guy or from the girl, and they're sending her messages that her womb will open.
Haven't you seen patient Zokwa type mother
Oh my God.
that will come and blame the woman even when the
man is the
woman,
problem.
and the woman in the marriage knows that I'm not the problem, it's your son.
And you know the crazy thing is that she would be mute.
She'll
Yes.
be mute.
Yeah.
It's the fact that women will want to protect their men so much. Oh, he's my king. I mean, anything that is happening, and then women hope so much. Things are going to get better,
Oh
and
my
this whole
God.
thing's going to go off, and we're going to be fine. So there's no need to tell somebody about
Somebody-
it.
yeah.
And they are busy telling you, they are praying, they are kabashing on your head, and you know that you're not the problem. And your husband is just there living life.
And he's not even saying anything.
Yes, he won't say anything. And he knows that part of the problem is him.
Well, I think that he's also a very unfair person. I don't want to use the language wicked because you also know that that's what it is like for you. And like you said, people have family dynamics that we have inside jokes in families, that things that are like very normal in families.
Yes.
You know, in some families, they don't eat from the same plates.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it many times where they're like, oh, this is my mom's plate, this is my dad's plate. In other families, they don't eat until everybody is at the table. So it's family adopt their cultures. Your parents adopted that culture from somewhere.
Yes.
Maybe they saw something different. You know, some of the things that you love about your home right now, you need to understand that your parents were the ones that did it. You know, in homes where they say nobody gets angry, nobody goes to bed angry with the other person. This is a culture, and it can be passed down from one generation to another generation. So I believe that you would have said, it's the same thing with men who say, oh, we don't want CS in our family. And you don't tell the woman, no. You get married to the woman. And this is even a very important conversation these days.
Yes.
Do you have a problem with a woman who would marry? And you see the problem. I went to church on Sunday. And, you know, I've told everybody about this message, everyone that cares to listen. It's because it's something that I have always said, which is, spirituality does not correct the mistakes that you can correct logically.
Yes.
In discipline, you can't pray in discipline out of your life.
Yes.
You need to choose to be a better person.
Intention.
You need to decide, and then you need to act
Yes.
on what you need to be. You don't pray that out of your life. These are things you don't pray. It's your carelessness that brought you here. And you know, I was seeing a video on Instagram. There's this lady, she's called Mama Dinya. She just does a lot of things for pregnant women and all. So she came up with these very cute cards. And in those cards, they ask questions about pregnancy, maternal health, you know, family life and everything. So one of the questions that were there was, what would you do? Because you're playing with your partner now. What would you do if you had a special needs child? And the guy kept going, God forbid. The woman kept going, God forbid. I will not have a special needs child. What will you do? God forbid. The answer is not God forbid. Things happen.
Yes.
Things happen. This life is not black and white. Sometimes you don't even have anybody like that in your gene, and then it happens to just one person. It starts with somebody. The question is, how are we going to solve it when we get into the marriage? You will think that this is a very unreasonable question, but it's a very important question. It is. Do we want to take out the pregnancy when we realize that we are going to have a special needs child? Are you going to blame me for having a special needs child, even when you know that it is what you gave me that I multiply?
Exactly.
You as a woman, are you going to blame me as the husband for giving you a special needs child, or however this comes about? These are very important questions. But I think that young people get carried away in the jamboree of love and get hypnotized with the butterflies in their stomach, and they don't ask important questions. Somebody has simplified your life by creating cards for you to answer, and you're busy saying God forbid for something that you should have answered. So you need to understand, and you cannot understand without communicating. What are the values like in your family? What happens in your family? Oh, you don't need to ask it from a place of interrogation. It's just conversations. This is how it is done in my family. How is it done? What is your Christmas tradition? These are questions that you need to ask. But we also know that culture, the Nigerian culture and the traditional African culture also plays a very vital role in what is happening in this marriage right now. Because in Africa, there are places in Nigeria, cultures in Nigeria, that the younger one can never get married before the older one.
Yes.
And it's a thing, you know. It can never happen. So you see the younger ones stay at home for very long periods when the older ones are just busy living life. Some of them don't even want to get married, you know. So you need to ask these questions before going there. But my next question would be, I've seen a lot of people carry baggages into marriage. Things, even into friendships, things that they would have sorted out before even loving anybody. I know that people can love you with your excesses, with your baggage and all of that. But I think that growth, maturity, adulthood demands that you deal with your problems and don't dump such baggage on another person. So how do you think people can solve problems like this? Because the lady also has a baggage.
Yes.
You are from a dysfunctional family, and you think that the solution out of that is creating a stable family for yourself. It's not logical, you know. So how do you think we can go about things like this?
Okay, so this reminds me of, I'm not here to discuss clients because we don't do that, but I'll just cite an example out of a whole lot. So this person said, I don't want to get married. If I mistakenly get married, in quotes, I don't want to have kids. So I'm like, why? I said, you won't understand. So as we went further, I understood the family dynamics and all sorts that came with it. So I was like, you need to deal with this, which are actually work in progress, and she's dealing on, you know, working all these things out. So I think what these people need, the lady, the guy, needs, everybody actually, is to actually check on your mental health once in a while. Just go and check on it. You never can tell. Many people are dealing with trauma. Things that you got from families, things you got from heartbreaks, how many breakfasts they've served you, and you're carrying all of them, and you're jumping into the next week. So some people actually do that in order to recover from previous broken hearts. You know, they get into something else, not yet done with the previous ones, and you are into another one. And then you also come up with this issue of, oh, you should love me the way I am, and stuff like that. But you have not dealt with the baggages you're carrying. And you want me to carry all of that. I have my own issues too. So you need to deal with this thing. And that's where the psychologists actually come to help. And that's what we actually think. If it can be, I think law can help actually. You know, to help people understand there is need for mental health is on the increase now. People actually need to go and check their mental health. There are things you need to deal with so that you don't pass it to the next generation. We're looking at kids coming up having issues, emotional dysregulation, coming from dysfunctional homes, have its own problem. Nigeria has its own problem. Culture has many problems. So when you carry all these things and you step into a home and you want to start building a family, you just transfer. It's as simple as that. And these kids go on, transfer to their own kids. So we start recycling this. So it's really a problem. Everybody needs to check their mental health. Deal with all of these things. You can be an adult, yet you're acting like a child. A full-grown adult. Sometimes when people talk, you actually know where they're coming from. They're like, there's an issue here. And the person says, no, I'm okay, I'm fine. I said, no, sir, there is need for you to, no, don't worry. At the end of the day, you find that there are some things the person is dealing with. Maybe mommy left when he was much younger, or daddy was beating mommy, and so many things. And so people get up in suits and makeup and stuff like that, and you think everything is fine? No. When they sit down with therapy, you see people, and when they uncover those things, you're like, wow.
Sometimes they don't even know.
Exactly. So you need to be intentional. You need to be intentional to work on yourself. You need to be intentional to actually be vulnerable enough, because therapy is vulnerability and it demands work too. You need to do the work and then say, oh, I don't want to carry this into the next generation. I don't want to dump this on my kids. I don't want to dump this on somebody's child. Because a man coming into your life is somebody's child who maybe the father has trained and everything, and the guy is okay, he's secure.
And deserves better.
And deserves better. And then you bring all your issues and dump, and the guy is like, what did I do? God, why did you answer my prayer in this form? You get, and even the lady prepared, ready for marriage, and then you bring in a mommy's boy. Oh, it's a big problem. So there are many things we actually need to open our eyes to. And there is need for everyone actually to check their mental health once in a while. It's very important. You never know what you have in there. until you're able to open it up to somebody. And then you get the help you need.
Okay, let's go to Ove. You answer that, but we'll get back to you again just so I don't forget to talk about actionable steps that you can take, because it's a whole lot of things when you tell people, then they just go and search for information that has no direct bearing, to helping them. So we'll talk about the actionable steps that a person can take towards healing, from whatever trauma they're going through. Let's take advantage of your certification, please. What are your thoughts?
Well, when she was saying that, it just makes me think about the fact that the family has a very vital role to play in shaping these children. You cannot be a parent and you are imposing your rules and regulations onto your child even as an adult. At the very young age. For example, my mom would tell me, yes, this is your father's house. You can do what you want when you go to your house. Do you understand? And that alone makes us understand that, when we go to our house, we'll make our own rules. We do what we want. We set it how we want to set it. Like you said, their own upbringing is still embedded in us. But then we now have the choice as adults to
edit.
Thank you. It is called, there's something they call it in media. Selective absorption, selective retention, and all of these things. As an adult, you should have the ability to do that. And it's almost as if I'm pointing fingers to the wrong persons. But a lot of parents do not teach their children this type of thing. They just tell you, you must do this way. They don't tell you, here, you do it this way. When you go elsewhere, you can do it that way. That alone already expands the child's brain, thinking onto, these things doesn't have to be like this. Is because I am in this place. That is why it is like this. People think it is, because most times, it's very interesting. It's very nice to have power. Like you were laughing earlier. It is very interesting to have power. And when you get that power, you don't want to lose it. And human beings are very greedy. And I can tell you, from our parents down to our elder ones, down to once you are able to have control over somebody, you don't want to lose that control.
Take advantage of that.
Yes. You think about later in the future when you say, I want this done this way, and it is done that way. Do you get? So parents don't seem to, a lot of parents rather, because my parents would actually separate themselves from your life. A lot of parents don't think it is interesting to actually let that power go. They want to hold you at the palm of their hands.
And that's the problem of the African parents.
Yes. They want to
have
hold
control forever.
Yes. They don't think about your family. It's just, funny enough, it's in the human nature. Once you hold that power, if the vicious circle is not broken, you won't want to let go. And that's why they don't tell their children, you should do this by yourself. They want to keep hold of them and just so that they can remote control them.
That's trauma. That's trauma passed from one generation to another generation that you see like this. And just like you said, many parents are not secure in themselves to let the children make certain decisions by themselves. And I remember one time as a girl in an African home, you go through a lot, I promise you. Especially when you are a certain kind of way, you developed early, your body is forming, your curves are forming and all of that. There's always that extra care for that kind of child. Don't want to follow any, if you laugh with boys, why are you laughing with the boy? Like, it's just a lot.
Yes.
And that in itself passes trauma onto that child, because the child is now extremely careful. I need to cover up my body a certain kind of way. They are no longer comfortable. Even when they're with girls, you see them, they are always just shielding their bodies because they've told them so many things. That's a good thing, but it's prison-like for you to make a child believe that there's just one way to do something. That's not how. Sometimes give them the freedom and see what they do with that freedom. Let them make mistakes and you'd correct the mistakes.
One time I asked my mom this question. So I was supposed to hang out with a friend and she got very agitated. She was just, oh my God. And I looked at her and I said, are you not certain about yourself? I was in the university then.
Don't you know what you taught me?
Yes, that's what I asked her. I said, are you not confident in yourself? Don't you know what you have? You don't know me. You don't know what you're
by now.
Yes, you don't know what you put in me. Why are you scared? And she went mute. it was just my way of telling her
And we
why.
also don't try. We don't try as children. We just expect them to be so perfect. We don't try to have these conversations with them. How about you see this from another perspective? The thing I really love, I was speaking to Victor this morning. The thing I really love about my father is we will argue it from the morning till the night. We will tell each other why we should follow each other's own. At the end of the day, we'll arrive at a conclusion.
Yes.
That's how it works in my home. You don't just tell anybody, go and do that. Why, sir? And I promise you, even now, and his grandchildren are like that to him too. So he says, I'm going to buy this for Tehila. I'll not buy for the rest people. And the rest will be like, partiality is not good. They are literally preaching the gospel he preached
Back
to them.
to him.
Esau and Jacob, do you know that the reason that there was a problem was because the father favored one more than the other? They literally tell him that up front. So I'm not even scared that they will bully my niece somewhere. It's not possible. She's already secure in herself.
Yeah.
And she's not shut in the home. You build perspectives. I literally can argue a perspective with my niece. You know, everybody cannot be like that.
Yes.
But I believe that it plays a very vital role in building the self-esteem of a child, which will not make them. So when there's conflict in the home, they don't look for solutions outside. They try to solve it inside of the home. But let's talk about actionable steps to healing from this trauma.
Okay, so number one thing is that these persons actually need to be aware that something is wrong. So you can't force somebody to say something is wrong. So the person needs to understand, I need to actually work on myself. There is something going on here. So awareness is number one key.
Absolutely.
And then the person begins to take the step of going to meet a psychologist to actually say, oh, I think I need this. So a lady came up one time saying she needed help. She was raped while growing up and she needed to get married, but she's scared and stuff like that. So we started working on something. So this is somebody who realized that something was actually wrong.
Absolutely.
And then she decided to take the step. So you need to understand there is something wrong and then seek the solution by looking for a clinical psychologist or a counselor that can help you deal with this. And then you also need to be open. Some people's mindset is, we call it fixed mindset. So fixed mindset is somebody who is not ready to be open to new ideas, open to conversations, difficult conversations actually. Oh, auntie, brother, something is wrong in this area. And person like, no, this is the way it has been. Thus says the Lord. This, that.
Cast on son.
Yes. So there is no need breaking out. So you say you can argue things with your father back and forth. So people know this is the way it should be. This is the way it has been. This is the way it should be. No. So this person needs to be open enough to actually acknowledge that, oh, I'm going in for this and be ready to do the work. So saying I'm meeting a counselor or a psychologist is one thing. Agreeing to do the work is another thing. And then in the course of this thing, so many things are going to come up in the course of counseling. So there may be need for you to have what we call a family counseling, where you have to bring other persons. There may be need for some people to deal with trauma of lost parents in the past years. There are some sections that you have, permit me to say, is a crying section. These are traumas that have been buried down for long years. And the person covers all these things up and they're going. But in the process of counseling, these things come up and then we deal with it and the person is able to feel relieved. And then when they come back, they say, oh, I thank you for this and that and that. Well, it's because you actually do the work. So when you say thank you, I say, no, I'm thanking you because you actually agreed to do this and you are open enough to actually do this. And like I said before, it calls for vulnerability. So people need to agree to be vulnerable, to actually discuss these things, to actually go through it and process it and be better. That's the way forward. And that can help people.
I think you should, psychologists should put more emphasis on the need to be vulnerable to the right person.
Yes.
Because, like you said, if the person doesn't agree, if the person doesn't even accept that there's a problem, there's no way to solve it, right?
Yes.
And then being vulnerable. Look, you are talking vulnerability, and it's sounding like it's something that you just snap your finger and then you're vulnerable.
Takes a lot.
Not at all.
Takes a lot.
You see, communication and vulnerability go hand in hand.
True.
Let's even leave the idea. In fact, let's leave the idea of meeting a psychologist and being vulnerable. For a relationship to work,
yes,
you must be vulnerable to the person you intend to be in that relationship with, to a certain extent. And it's hard. It is hard to communicate, and it's very, very hard to be vulnerable. And if you don't put it out the way it is, people will not understand how difficult this thing is. You're talking about, people know the word vulnerability. People know the word communication.
Exactly. But the
But they
experience,
don't.
experience
in
different things.
Some of us have been able to master the act of being vulnerable to the right people and communicating exactly how we feel.
Yes.
That's because we constantly try to do that. But I remember, anytime we talk about this, I remember back in the days when I couldn't even say how I feel. Like,
it's just in your
hard.
chest, so tight.
It's so hard. And then the first time you eventually
do it.
it's like,
Oh,
ooh,
something just happened.
it's like something
true.
just left your body. Like, my
Yes.
God, did I just say
And
this?
do you know that sometimes, most times, that's where healing starts?
Yes.
Being able to like actually, because you know, you might be saying a lot of things and you told someone to something, this person did this thing to me, I'm so upset with them, I'm never going to forgive them, and there's some way they don't even know what they did to you.
And it's just eating you up.
And sometimes I think we need to give people grace. Grace in the sense that you need to know that people are always going to be a product of their environment.
Yeah.
People are always going to be a product of their upbringing. They will always be a product of their culture and their religious sentiments. These, to a large extent, builds up the value and the discipline and the principle that we have as individuals. But the thing is, personally, I believe in resounding it. I always resound it. And there's something I saw about Mark Zuckerberg, I think it was yesterday or so, when he was talking about how when he wanted to buy Meta, people were laughing at him and all of that. And at the end of the day, many years later, I guess they would swallow their words literally. And I think that many people do not get to a point where they can actually be healed because they are not they don't know themselves, really.
Self-aware.
And then this ability to want to please everybody puts us in a lot of mess, much more than we can ever explain. Where we want to be right in the eyes of everybody. It took me a lot of time to be able to come to this conclusion as an individual, because you know, you always want to be right, and that's upbringing. And personally, I had that kind of experience growing up where the good child always had a reward where I'm from. You know, you need to be like this, you need to do that, don't keep boys around and all of that. Because I mean, sisters and, you know, with families that have girls, they're always very, very extreme in their upbringing. So that, to a large extent, made me extremely conscious. I don't want to make any mistake, but mistakes are parts of a person's life. And if you don't make mistakes, you definitely not learn. The person who made a bob, I heard the person did up to 1,000 tries. 7-Up. Come to find out, the name is 7-Up because he failed 6 times, and the 7th time he got it, which was the 7-Up. So life is not just about getting it on the first try. You will make so many mistakes, but at the end of the day, how you correct that mistake. So I think that as parents, we should teach people to be self-sufficient, not self-absorbed, where, you know, no matter what happened, you don't think you are wrong and anything of that sort. But people should be aware of themselves and their choices, so they become comfortable with being opposed by people. I don't think a lot of us are comfortable when people say no to us. Let's argue it out. I really love it. That's how you come to a conclusion for something. Let's talk about it as many times as possible. But yeah, 1 minute, final words, and then we'll wrap it up. Today was such an interesting conversation and an enlightening one as well. So just tell us what your thoughts are in general about, you know, the video we've watched, the life basically, and getting out of difficult situations.
Okay. I think I'll just relieve from what you said last, which is parents have a lot of work to do. And when we're talking about parents, we're talking about ourselves sitting down here. Yes. Because this generation, our parent generation, they are gone already. And then we're the parents we're talking about. So we have a lot of work to do with these kids coming up. And for you to train a child in this century, you need to be ahead in many things. So you actually need to be comfortable when your child sits down and say, no, mommy, you don't do it that way, you do it the other way. But you know, the African woman,
How dare you?
You look at the child like, well, you need to catch yourself quickly. So I think we have a lot of work to do. Being aware is one of it. Being sensitive is also another thing. And you may not have all the right answers, but have at least what will be sufficient for the moment, and be open. There are new ideas there. People will come with many things. Just be ready to get something that helps you and helps your family and helps people around you. I think that's just it.
All right. Thank you. 1 minute, girl.
I actually wanted to talk about the fact that parenting is very crucial in this matter. But since she spoke about that, I'm going to talk about the fact that we as adults who have experienced these terrible things, who have been put in the wrong way, unknowingly, by the way, because I'm sure our parents did not have the information, or let's say they were not informed enough to tell us the things that we're supposed to know. You as an adult who is still giving excuses onto why your behavior is rotten. Permit me to use that word because it is smelly. You should be ashamed of yourself. Most of the time I look at them and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so much pity for these people. You should be able to decide, because you're an adult, to decide that, oh, this is what I want. And in as much as I've gone through this fire, this hell, I don't want to put it out there for somebody.
To another person. All right. Thank you so much, Augusta. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation. Thank you, Ave Marie, for joining us on the conversation. And this is where we wrap it up. Please, guys, head on to our socials on Facebook, on Instagram, and on X. It is at RapidTV. On YouTube, this video will be posted. Please share the link to your friends. Let's know what they think in the comments. It is our official Rapid TV, and www.rbnradiotv.com allows you to connect with us from anywhere in the world. Good news, we are on free TV now, which means that you can download the app, search for Rapid TV, and enjoy all of our programs. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you tomorrow. My name is Martha Alu.